The year 2003 found a new government in place. This government was keen on change, overwhelmed with ideas and needed direction to make a turnaround. There were a myriad of organizations, all claiming to be the voice of the private sector, several times contradicting each other with short-term solutions.
In 2002, after the MAC government came in, they asked the question because, again, different organizations went and said, no, we are the voice of the business community.
Can you imagine? It was ridiculous. We would all walk into the president. When we see the president, or, we all go with very many mundane lists of things.
There was indecision in government because of that. You get a view saying do X, somebody says do the other side, do the opposite, and therefore there was no unification of voices.
So the government turned around and said, listen, who is the voice of the business community? We want one voice.
And they said, would like you to create an umbrella body of all the commercial and business associations of the country.
We had to do a lot of work to convince various leaders who headed various associations and large federations within the sectors to agree to come together. Through that process, we were able to assemble all the leaders and we were able to agree that KEPSA will be the unified body of the business community.
I would say since KEPSA was formed, we never looked back. It has been very effective and it has really supported the government in shaping and guiding the way forward.
We do two things mainly. One is really to develop the partnership between government and private sector through what we call the public-private dialogue platforms. Secondly, we also get involved in investments, encouraging investments into the country and investments outside the country and investments around the country and the growth of investments so that the local companies and the foreign companies can also expand. By the same time, we can attract more investments into the country and into the region.
One of the greatest changes that KEPSA have really brought into this sector is to seeing a bill that was there for 10 years coming in to pass. Now we have an act of parliament that is actually foreseeing the sector growing because we have to be rearranged in 4 subsectors. We have the agro-base, we have the manufacturers, we have trade, and we have the service providers. The 4 subsectors will bring sanity in the MSCs.
You remember the popular battles that you used to see with the hawkers, small business traders running around with city council. You remember the way the work sites were being destroyed every day and so on. In the coming into law of the MSC Act 2012, now there is a one-stop shop called the MSC Authority, where all the issues and all the departments that used to tackle issues to do with small businesses were brought together.
I was employed. For a while, I found that the job couldn't sustain my life. So I was like hustling, not getting anything. One day I got an advert from KEPSA, Kenya Private Sector Alliance. Actually, I applied. I was called for the internship. I went through the internship for a period of 6 months successfully. Then, before I finished the internship, I was already in business. Since there was one thing I was lacking, and that was the self skills. So I got the skills of business from them.
In the first years after independence, the Chamber played a very significant role in deepening the government's agenda with the private sector. Over the years, wrangles for leadership, weak memorandum of articles of association and mismanagement ruined the organization.
KEPSA led the initiative to revise the memorandum and articles of association of the Chamber, and it really was the beginning of the revived Chamber of Commerce because we had now a robust set of legal infrastructure, which is what we're working on. It was agreed that KEPSA would be the point of contact with government, but that the Chamber of Commerce would take leadership in the economic diplomacy agenda.
The government alone cannot provide security. Security is a role of everyone. KEPSA has played majorly in the current reforms that is going on in the sector. Look at the police sector. Another very important role that KEPSA is doing is the current security regulatory bill. As you know, the industry, especially the private security, has not been regulated, and now KEPSA is coming up together with the other players to make the regulatory bill take.
Current constitution as it is, has a lot of room for dialogue, and the processes that have been set up with the current constitution also allows for private sector engagement directly with all organs of government. So that is why we were very keen to get the new constitution in place.
There's going to be 200 billion moving into the pockets of women and youth if the uptick of the public procurement goes as planned. What this means is that the person who did not have access to this money now has access to it. And what that means is that it increases your spending power. It means you have access to better healthcare because you have money in your pocket. So basically you can choose where to go to the hospital, where to take your children to school.
Clearly, we have seen Kenya coming of age and now ready to be recognized as one of the lions of Africa. KEPSA is proud to have influenced the growth of the Kenyan economy for the past 10 years. We are also proud of what our nation has achieved during its 50 years of existence and look forward to a prosperous Kenya.
President Uhuru, one of the first organizations that he met was KEPSA, and I remember I was in that meeting. And he did promise that KEPSA will play a very central role. In fact, I was very impressed that he even suggested that he could offer an office within the office of the president for KEPSA to be nearby.
Today, I feel proud that in the last 10 years, the need has been felt to become unified as a voice, and the private sector needs to be united to say, fine, let's talk one-to-one.
We have a very, very ambitious plan for the growth of the country to make Kenya a middle-income country by 2030.
Every Kenyan must strive. It's not me alone, it's not you alone, it's not him alone. Everyone.
Happy birthday, KEPSA, and let's keep doing this.